This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Wiseman. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the idea of oneness. And so those of you who know my path, I'm a clairvoyant, and I'm also primarily a channel. I receive spiritual teachings in writing. And this has been going on since around 2000 is when it first began. And up to this point, I've received 5 different sessions or experiences of large amounts of spiritual teachings coming through. And over time, this has become what the guides say to me, it's like a spiritual thought system, or it's a way of looking at the world, our experience in a different way. And a lot of what these teachings provide to us is the idea first that we are souls. That's our main identity. You know, we aren't here to identify as this or that or the other thing. That's part of it. But our bigger experience is the soul experience. And that's sort of part one of, it's a very simple idea, but a lot of ways to think about it. And then the next part of this is this idea of oneness, that we are not separate from each other, of course, but we're also not separate from the universe in any way. And so this part of the teachings begins to talk about oneness in a way that maybe for some people is a little unexpected. The way that the guides provided it to me is that 2 ways. The universe speaks, and the universe communicates back and forth with us at all times. And the secondary idea that everything is your answer. Everything is your answer. And, some people, we live in a very linear, factual world. We live in a world that's run by rational thinking. And when we're in the dominant culture run by rational thinking, or even just opinion, not rational thinking, we forget that there is this astounding guidance, this collective soul that we are part of, oneness, God, divine, universe, collective soul, all the same words for this essence that we are and that we are part of, and that is available to us at every time by tapping into this collective wisdom, which is the universe. Not always human, right? Collective wisdom is not only from human perspective, it's from everything. And so these messages begin to talk about how we can receive guidance from everything. Everything is your answer. Not just humans, not just an email popping into your box with the answer, but answers that come when we start to pay attention in a new way and really start to speak and listen to and understand this language of the universe, which is something, we're not taught this, that it is in ancient traditions, it is in some places in the world, but by and large, rational thought rules the day, or the way things are that we can see are how things are working. And yet there's this whole multidimensional universe across time and space and dimensions that we're also part of, and we can work with that. So I want to read some of the pieces that this is about. So we have the Twofold Path, which is human and soul. No middleman required. to make direct connection. Direct connection is yours. How the universe communicates, why vibration matters, opening your windows, the call to open up ourselves to receive this information, the false path. Guidance arrives in visions, guidance arrives in messages, guidance arrives in feeling, guidance arrives in events. And those are some of the ways that we can learn to speak this language and interpret what's happening in our lives. Receiving creates more receiving. The more we tune in, the more we're tuned in. The more we accept this language, the more we can speak this language and communicate with it. How meditation opens you, how nature opens you, how music opens you, how sex opens you, how peak experiences open you, how stillness opens you. These are the practices, right, that we can fully engage with, these practices that take us into this state of openness, which allows receiving and understanding of the universe communicating with us. Again, you can read anything, everything is your answer. And then some ways of dealing with moving along. So these messages have talked about how the universe speaks, everything is your answer, everything is available to you that you want to understand. And then as we get into more this human side, okay, we're receiving everything. How do we integrate that with our very, very human life, with all its pain and suffering and trauma and drama? And so radical releasing, radical compassion, radical gratitude, radical intuition, direct knowing, where we get to a place where we're so in tune, we know before we know. It's instantaneous intuition that's turned on all the time, letting the universe lead, living in flow. Now, flow state is something that I have not received a ton of messages on yet. And yet this is one of the biggest parts of the practice, is how do we get into flow state with the universe and follow along that track of flow so that we're always in this space of communication and receiving and communication and receiving, and making that our life's path. And then we go into some more ideas of how to deal with the very human part of ourselves. Chaos means change, pain as stuckness, fear as stuckness, learning to love, learning to be loved, and becoming the beloved. So for those of you who are interested in this path of opening yourself to a new understanding of how to live from soul, and how to accept the idea that the universe is always communicating with us, and all we just need to do is just open up and pay attention, learn how to speak the language. It's a really lovely way to live. And since I've been doing this practice, I vaguely started in 2000, but it took a long time to figure it out. And it took a lot of receiving of this spiritual teaching and starting to work with it. And then, of course, starting to work with other people teaching. And of course, all the students that I worked with become my teachers, and we're teaching each other. And pretty astounding how as souls, we just show up for each other. Anyway, this particular aspect is part of the course, the Oneness Project. It's also in the second part of the book, Messages from the Divine, which a lot of you guys have found too. But the course has the audio and exercises to help you move through it. It's a 33-day progression, so you sort of get immersed in the information. I never know when the channeling comes. It's only happened 5 times, and I think 5 times over 20 years. So I would hope there will be more. We'll see what happens. I try and stay open to the universe communicating to me and all of us as much as possible. And we'll see if there's more after this particular course of study too. Hey, everybody, thank you for listening, and see you another time. I'm at sarahwiseman.com.